I still remember the first day I saw him. It wasn't something grand or cinematic, just an ordinary moment in an ordinary afternoon, but for some reason, it felt like time paused, as if the universe took a deep breath. I was standing near the entrance of the small cafe across from campus, trying to balance my notebook, my coffee, and my hopelessly tangled headphones. Then the door opened, and a guy with soft brown eyes and an oversized denim jacket stepped inside. I didn't know his name back then, but I felt something warm and unfamiliar stir inside me. I caught him staring at me for a second, just a second, before he shyly looked away. I didn't think much of it. I didn't expect that this stranger, who walked past me with the smell of rain still clinging to him, would soon become the person whose presence would change everything. The next time I saw him was 2 weeks later during a literature class I almost skipped. I sat in the back, exhausted and half asleep, when the professor said we'd be analyzing romantic poetry. I groaned internally. Then I felt someone sit next to me. I looked up, and there he was, the guy from the cafe. He smiled awkwardly, like he wasn't sure if I'd remember him. "I think we've met," he whispered.
"Only briefly," I whispered back. We exchanged names. His was Adrian. Simple, gentle, almost poetic. A name that fit him too well. When the professor asked us to pair up for an assignment, Adrian immediately turned to me. "Partners?" he asked, and somehow my tiredness melted away. Working with him was strange, in the best possible way. I never liked group projects, yet with him, everything felt easy, effortless. He listened, really listened. He had this way of tilting his head slightly when I talked, as if my words were precious. And he wasn't loud or overly confident like so many others. He was calm, thoughtful, and kind in ways that didn't demand attention. One evening, we stayed after class to finish our assignment. The campus was nearly empty, the hallways quiet except for the hum of vending machines. At some point, without realizing it, we had drifted into a conversation far beyond the project, about dreams, fears, regrets, the meaning of life, all of the things people usually hide behind jokes and small talk. I told him I was afraid of being misunderstood. He told me he was afraid of not being enough. When he said that, my heart tightened in my chest, because everything about him seemed more than enough. The more time I spent with him, the more I started noticing small things. How he absent-mindedly tapped his fingers when he was thinking, how he smiled with only half of his mouth when he found something genuinely funny, how he always gave way to others without expecting anything in return. I found myself looking for him in hallways, listening for his laugh, even adjusting my schedule just to pass by the places he usually hung out. I didn't know when it happened exactly, but I fell for him. Deeply, quietly, helplessly. But I was scared. Scared to ruin what we had. Scared that he didn't feel the same. Scared that I was just another person in his life, while he had slowly become the center of mine. So I kept my feelings hidden until the day I couldn't anymore. It was late in the fall, the kind of cold evening where the leaves looked like burning memories under streetlights. We were walking back from class, our breath forming small ghosts in the air. Adrian looked distracted, almost nervous. When we reached the crossing near the old library, he suddenly stopped. "There's something I want to tell you," he said. His voice was shaking. My heart dropped. I was terrified he was going to say he was leaving, or that he'd met someone else, or something equally heartbreaking. I braced myself. Instead, he took a slow breath and said, "I really like being around you, more than I should. more than just friends. My mind went blank. For a moment, I genuinely thought I had imagined it. You what? I whispered. He looked down at his shoes. I know it's stupid. I know you probably don't feel the same, but I do, I whispered. I do feel the same. He lifted his head, and the look in his eyes, surprise, relief, tenderness, felt like sunrise after a lifetime of rain. That night, he walked me home, but we moved slowly, stopping every few steps just to smile at each other like two fools who had finally found the courage to say the truth. When we reached my door, he hesitated for a moment, then gently tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. Can I? He asked softly, not finishing the sentence. I nodded. His kiss was warm, hesitant at first, then certain, like he was telling me everything he hadn't dared to say before. And right there, wrapped in the quiet of the night, with the street lamps glowing like stars too close to the ground, I realized something simple but profound. Love doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives softly, like footsteps in a hallway or a shy smile across a cafe. Since that night, everything changed, and yet everything stayed beautifully familiar. We still sat together in class, still shared jokes and whispered comments during boring lectures, but now his hand found mine beneath the desk. Now he walked me home, not because it was convenient, but because he wanted every extra moment with me, and I wanted every moment with him. We had our ups and downs, of course, moments of doubt, small misunderstandings, fears resurfacing when we least expected them. But every time life tried to pull us apart, we held on. Because love, I learned, isn't just feelings. It's choosing each other again and again, even on days when everything feels uncertain. There's one memory I go back to often. It was a winter afternoon, snow falling gently outside the window. Adrian had come over to help me study, though we ended up doing anything but studying. We sat on the floor drinking hot chocolate, our legs tangled in a way that felt both accidental and perfectly intentional. At one point, he leaned his head on my shoulder and whispered, I don't know how I got lucky enough to meet you. I didn't answer right away. I just held him a little tighter, because sometimes words aren't enough to describe how full your heart feels. But I thought to myself, maybe we weren't luck. Maybe we were just meant to find each other. And maybe that's what our story truly is. Not a fairy tale, not a perfect movie script, but two imperfect people finding something rare and real in an unpredictable world. Even now, whenever I think about him, I feel that same warmth I felt in the cafe on the day we first met. Only now, it's stronger, deeper, woven into the rhythm of my everyday life. He's become the quiet music to my chaos, the steady heartbeat to my restless mind. And if you ask me what love feels like, I will tell you this. Love is the moment you look at someone and realize they're already a part of your story, even before either of you says a word.